Okay, hi everyone. My name is Chef George, and for this year's 2020 Korean Temple Food Week, I'm gonna make my own version of the tofu pancake. Now, I tweaked it around a little bit for more, I guess, Western appeal to it. So we're gonna start off with pretty much the same basic. So we will be using the firm tofu. And we're gonna actually use a mix of the gochujang and a calamansi mix that I did over here, which would be the chili paste and the calamansi. For those that don't know what calamansi is, they're Filipino lemons, and you can find in the market a concentrated version of the lemon juice with the honey. Combine both of these to make this one sauce that we're going to be using as our base for the pancakes. We also will be using some fermented enoki mushrooms, some crunchy chili flakes, chili flakes in oil with peanuts. We will be also using the perilla oil, some flour, some AP flour, and some crunchy shiitake chips that I usually make. King oyster mushrooms, some enoki mushrooms that I will saute on the side as well, and crown daisies that we will use not only just for garnish, but just to add a little bit of a nice fresh herb taste at the very end. Instead of blanching the tofu, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna chop it really fine to make almost like a tofu paste. And then we're gonna add the rest of these ingredients over here. We'll make the pancakes, we'll saute some of the mushrooms afterwards, and then we'll build. So I'm gonna start off with slicing the tofu fairly thin. It's a fun process of complications. I am going to cut these up fairly thin, then I'm going to puree them, but I'm going to show you a nice technique. We'll put the tofu in the sifter, so we'll use a rubber spatula just to pass it through. See, if I was here all alone, I'll be struggling with this. A little work, but it's going to give me the exact texture that I need. I am going to use the water that's in the tofu as it is, and I will add a little bit extra water as needed. Half a pack of tofu, 5 tablespoons of flour, about 1 teaspoon of the crispy chilies, about 1 tablespoon of the fermented enoki mushrooms, 2 tablespoons that went in, 3, 4, 5 tablespoons of that, 1 teaspoon of chili, crispy chili flakes, calamansi mix, 2 tablespoons, sorry, and we'll add the enoki mushrooms. Actually, I'm gonna just give a rough chop of the enoki mushrooms, not too much. I can actually use a little bit of this stock, this stock works just as fine. But for now, we're gonna use a 1/4 cup instead of a 1/2 cup like we did the last time. And we'll mix that up. This pancake is gonna come out to look a little bit more on the pasty side. So you know what? About a 1/4 cup of stock will be great for this recipe. Let's make these pancakes then. Add just a little bit of the oil. All right, so we're gonna add a little bit of oil. We'll wait till this gets hot. Now, if you see, I am starting my pancakes on the side that has a little bit more oil in it, and then I'm just moving them over to the side so that they can crisp up. We're sauteing, we're not really deep frying these pancakes. There we go. Now that we have all of them turned, what we're gonna start off with is some oyster mushrooms, some enoki mushrooms, crown daisies over here. So these will be our components, and also some crispy shiitake chips, which are one of my favorite things to make, and they're also fairly simple to do. We're gonna first start sauteing the oyster mushrooms first, and we'll go ahead and then we'll add these oyster mushrooms face down, and I'll give it a quick turn just to make sure that we get not only a nice caramelized color, but to make sure that the oil really gets into the bottom side of the mushrooms, so that we get an even browning throughout. And we'll put that to the side. Once these are done, we'll go ahead and we'll add these enoki mushrooms, which are fairly cheap mushrooms that you can find in the market. So it doesn't take much for these mushrooms. So even though I don't add salt in the beginning for these, they're so quick, I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt. I add a little bit of oil. As these mushrooms are working, I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna just start plating our dish with our sauce on the base, just cause at least a little bit of sauce on the base. Grab the pancakes first, and we're gonna do kind of just a couple of tiers on these. Add one oyster mushroom on that. Get the next one going right on top of that. Add a little bit of herbs coming over here. Another pancake. Another little shroom over here. Put in a little bit of those herbs in there as well. Now we'll add these enoki mushrooms. Dish almost reminds me of Christmas. And then we'll finish up our dish with some chips, some shiitake chips right on top of that, and just a little drizzle right on top over there. Hope you guys really enjoy my version of the tofu pancake dish. Thank you.